Talking to the indomitable Debbie Reynolds, and
Unsinkable is the word.
Unsinkable, yeah. I want to ask you about something I read. It was that there was a time when you and some other featured players, Elizabeth Taylor, Eddie Fisher, various different ones of you, as we say in the Midwest, different ones were married to each other, and yet the lines became blurred somewhat as to who was married and intimate with whom. Am I putting this too cautiously? The point is, you supposedly reached your husband, Eddie Fisher, who had the wit to pick up the phone while in Elizabeth Taylor's bed at the Plaza. You ask us to believe this?
Well, you can't go back this far. It's such an old story, isn't it?
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
I did.
No,
I just called. Well, Eddie was in New York with Elizabeth, and I thought that was fine.
I just thought, what kind of brains does...
We were friends.
I mean, does somebody say, oh, it's for you, it's your wife. Here, move over, the sheets are getting wrinkled. Here.
Well, I called her room.
How'd you do that?
I called his room, and he wasn't there, and then I thought, nah. But yeah, he was in her room, and he answered, asleep. Oh. Yeah. Well, it wasn't a very smart move, was it? But anyway, I'm very
Better
grateful.
than a lot of stuff you see in
grateful
movies.
that happened, because I mean, when I look back and now I see Eddie now and all, you know, it's just, it was actually, I was a lucky break.
You know where you stood then, didn't you?
Well, when you're young and when you fall in love, those are the things that happen. And so that happened to be that we were all friends and we were all famous. And that has sort of remained, and I'm always asked that question. And Elizabeth and I were very good friends then. We're friends now, and that's a long time ago. Eddie and I aren't that close.
I don't see you together that often. You can laugh now about it, obviously, unless you're acting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Goodness, it's too long ago.
Do all you movie people confuse art with life and expect art to be life?
Oh, you're so interesting. I'd like to hear you say that. Do all you movie people compare
but you wouldn't say that to Bill Buckley.
And life with art?
Well,
Do
you confuse in love with love? Do you all?
I don't think we confuse anything. I think
you all lead such shallow lives.
Well, I really don't know if I have every answer for you.
I'm sorry.
Let me see. What was the question again? That's all I'm asking. Peter, I don't know.
You are a faultless mimic. I mean, you're perfect.
But I don't know. The only thing I can talk about would be, I don't know, the jewelry and the man, darling. I don't know what
Do Walter Brandon.
I love to do. Oh, stop. Do Fred Allen. That's your favorite.
Yes, you know this.
Well, you sound just like him.
All the sincerity in Hollywood could be concealed in a flea's navel, and you'd still have room for 4 caraway seeds in the heart of an agent.
See, you release the nose and you sound just like him now.
I was able to get the nasal up. So I hope I'm not being silly, but you give me a giddy champagne-like feeling. Was it worth it? There's an unforgivable question. You know, when you were living in a car...
Actresses, they're not any different than anybody else. I just feel that actresses' lives have to become so dedicated to their work, and usually their husband can't take being Mr. somebody.
Yeah.
So the marriages don't work. I do think actresses have a harder time. So that was the answer to a question that you began asking about the art and the inclination of the inner, the outer, and the
You can get into a person's head. It's amazing. I wondered, though, you know, people who haven't been on a stage and heard 8,000 people applauding and cheering them don't know what A, that's like, or B, the question, all these people think I'm wonderful. Why is my life such a mess? You know, that's really the central sad thing about so many performers.
For myself, I never feel that I have to be out there in private life. And I forget that my husband might need the applause. And I do think that that is a problem in a marriage. It has seemed to be a problem in a marriage for me and other actresses.
But your husband might need the attention that he sees you getting?
Oh, no, that he's not getting any attention.
Not getting it.
He's not getting any of the attention, and sometimes that is a bother to them. Now, I spoke to, like Ann Blythe is married to a doctor, and Irene Dunn was married to a doctor, and these were all very successful. And I asked my personal doctor one day about that, and he said, but Debbie, we have our own person. We don't need
Yeah.
any acclaim, we're fine. I'm Dr. So-and-so. So I should have found a nice Jewish doctor, and it would have worked perfectly, and they would have been Deborah, and they would have been fine.
Try it, you wouldn't be sorry.
I'm telling you, we're breaking fine because
There's still time. You were a young woman.
Oh, no. Wait, don't.
What was good about the star system?
The
Looking
star
back.
system was wonderful, I feel, because it took like young people, say, such as myself, June Allison and Marilyn Monroe, and poor, untrained, and put us under contract, gave us these fabulous teachers, and developed stories in small roles and built them until they put you in larger roles and bigger roles and matured you, like Stanwyck and Greer Garson. I mean, their careers went on and on. Norma Shearer.
What about the people where they
Doesn't
didn't
happen.
realize what they had in them ever, like Patricia Neal, like Anne Bancroft? You see them in these pieces of crap on AMC. I love AMC, but you know, they make the movie look better in the moments they're on the screen. But they never got the parts they deserved.
Patricia Neal did.
Oh, later, much
Found.
later. I'm talking about in those early days.
In the early days, no, you always had, there was always the girlfriend, and I'm not saying Eve Arden type,
Yeah.
but Alexis Smith was always a girlfriend.
Yes.
And yes, Patricia Neal and Anne Ban, they had brilliant actresses. Jean Hagen, these were always second. Nancy Davis, our president's wife, second. But they were great supporting cast. Agnes Moorehead, and then they all became stars, most lot from television later.
Cornell Borchard.
Cornell Borchard.
This is a name I only learned 2 weeks ago, and she was a glamorous movie star for, what, 3 or 4 movies and vanished?
Well, I don't know. Isn't that awful to say?
Is that name new to you?
Yes.
She's a star in several films you see on AMC and other such places.
All right, and I watch AMC
Interesting.
all the time.
Do you know that I'm damn sorry that we're out of time. I congratulate you on how the confluence of genes produced that splendid daughter of yours and the other
Carrie
good
Fisher,
other
very
wonders.
talented.
Thanks,
Now
Debbie.
listen, it's 7340711 is my phone number in Vegas, area code 702. 305 Convention Center Drive.
Wow.
It's called the
that
Debbie
museum of
Reynolds
yours
Hollywood
looks-
Hotel. You gotta come.
I will be there with one bell on.